Only live webcast that brings you the passion, the power, and the pulse of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. This is Ruin Hammer Live, the official official webcast of the official Aussie-based Warrior supporters movement, Warrior Nation. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my co-host and fellow Warriors, Tragic Warrior Roo. Rob, how are you, mate? How have you been? How's your week been?
Yeah, week's been good. Pretty busy start to the week as always, but I've got to tell you, after a performance like we saw on Saturday night, the weekend was just perfect. Everything went really well according to plan.
Yep.
I didn't actually get to watch the game live because I was at a school concert where my daughter was performing a solo in the grand finale. So it was a pretty important night for her, and she killed it just like the Warriors did.
Yep.
So the Warriors game was the second best performance on Saturday night, I have to say.
Oh, look at that. Huh? Proud dad.
yeah, very proud dad. She did really well with a solo, and her mum was super proud, her mum being her vocal coach.
Yep.
So been good, but the weather up here has been really cold. You Southerners and you guys from NZ and everything probably won't believe it, but up here it has been really cold this week. So we're all rugged up here in the Sunshine State.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, all good. How about yourself?
Excuse me. Still trying to get over this sickness and ailments that I've had now going on now for a month. Going through various stages of chest tightness and all the rest of it. The upside had two of my kids come down from my two kids that live in Queensland come down. So Britt and her daughter, my granddaughter Raya, they came down late in the week last week. But Jake, my youngest son, he was down here from Tuesday onwards, and he stayed with me. So that was great. Got to catch up with him and spend some time with him. Got all of them together, the four of them together on Sunday, which is a rarity because, covering two different states. They were down for another one of their sisters' babies' birthdays. Don't ask me to explain all of that. There's long story short.
Yes.
My ex and I have four kids together, and then she had another four after we split up. So they've got some half sisters. Or stepsisters, half sisters in Sydney here. So but mate, good weekend. But yeah, as you said, topped off by a fantastic Warriors performance, which we'll get into in a moment. I just want to remind everyone that, as I did say in the opening, we are now going live each week, not only on our Ruin Hammer channel on YouTube, but and our Ruin Hammer page on Facebook, but we're also being given the blessing of the Warrior Nation Godfather Richie Morgan to stream direct to the Warrior Nation Facebook page each week. So we are the official webcast of the Warrior Nation now. And as people that know us know that's where we met. That's how Ruin Hammer started. So it's a great fit for all of us. But yeah, just want to send our thanks and appreciation to Richie Morgan for all the support that he gives us behind the scenes each and every week. So, shout out to him. Speaking of Richie, mate, he did do another pre-game event. It's something that he's really taken on board this season to organise these pre-game events. Unfortunately, both of us weren't there. You obviously been up in Queensland. I had some family stuff that I had to do this weekend. Another pre-game event with a march to the stadium. Richie doing a great job, and it was great to see all the photos that were shared on the Warrior Nation page by everyone. Hey, kia ora, cuz. My cousin Duncan in the chat.
Yeah, welcome,
don't
Duncan.
mind him, everyone. He's a Melbourne supporter. That's probably why he's got the purple heart there.
Must have a hard life.
Another great pre-game event, and we've got the bye this week, and then I think we play the Panthers in New Zealand, and then we've got the Broncos up in Queensland, which is going to be another massive pre-game event that Richie's organised at the Lord Alfred, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Every game in Australia this year is going to have a pre-game event that Richie's organised. So that was another great one.
Bit of a Brazilian barbecue,
were
wasn't
packed.
it? And yeah,
Brazilian
bit of
barbecue,
pulled pork burgers and all that sort of thing. Looked awesome.
Yep, it did.
Malcolm Earnshaw was there.
And
Yep.
V Energy came to the party with providing the drinks for that one as well. The Up the Waz specially branded cans of drinks. So yeah, looks like it was a great one. And then they did the walk to the stadium. They were all camped up on the family hill that is at Shark Park there. And, mate, 40-10. What a win. What a win.
Yeah.
I know you didn't get to see it live. We were keeping you up to date in the live chat we have with Brad and Richie.
My pocket was vibrating constantly. I'm sitting there watching the concert and I can just feel my pocket vibrating. And I'm like, that's either really good news or really bad news. And then there was an intermission in the in the middle of the concert, so I got jumped on KO, and by that time we're up by 30-10. So that was pretty good. And I went back and watched the replay afterwards. But yeah, that was the most dominant performance of the season so far, the most convincing performance, and we just fired on all cylinders in that second half.
Interesting too, because we didn't have Mitch Barnett. We lost him in that game against the Rabbitohs the other week with the ACL injury. Late withdrawal was Wade Egan. Was a late withdrawal at about 11 a.m. on the Saturday morning. Sam Healy promoted to the run on 13. Mate didn't step up to the challenge. And then also Jacob Laban promoted to the start of 13 with Jacko Ford moving back to the bench, where he's probably starred the past couple of weeks coming off the bench. But as you said, mate, it was a statement win considering how dominant we were without, despite not having two of our key leaders in Barnett and Egan. I thought, we got that early try to DWZ. We defended quite a few sets on our own line, and we stood the Sharks' attack and pressure. And then we went downfield and scored that try from Pompey off a CHT kick for a 10-0 lead. And we're really playing some really smart footy in this one. We were by far the better side and more dominant side in that opening 40s, despite going in at, I think it was 12-10 up at half-time.
Yeah, it was only 12-10.
A small two-point lead. But and in that, you got to look at the stats. The Sharks had 58% possession in that first half. They had 20 tackles inside our 20 compared to just 5 that we had inside the Sharks 20. But, we were still able to leave. CNK, once again, saving a try right on half-time. He did right on half-time, right on full-time, actually. But, mate, that second half was a points fest. Straight after the break, Vaimunga with that short ball to James Fisher-Harris to score under the posts. Great bit of second phase play. Vaimunga got his own 4-pointer about 10 minutes later. Again, it was second phase play from Clark and Metcalf creating space around the ruck. Halasima scored. It was our third kick, try from a kick. And then CHT scored to put the Waz up 36-10 and then another intercept in the dying minutes to get himself a double. And, mate, for me, it was just a really controlled performance. We defended really well. We defended really well when we were under pressure. We had really good shape and variety in our attack. We had some really good second phase play. And we kicked to the corners and we kicked so well. We forced the Sharks to start every set, pretty much coming deep off their line. The two guys that were probably going to be the key for the Sharks in Hines and Fanua Blake, non-existent in this one. What did you think of it watching it back, mate? What were your feelings on that game?
Well, my thoughts. I was super impressed. Yeah. Like that second half was an absolute joy to watch. We were so controlled, and that was the whole thing. We felt like we were in control. We got those two early tries. Well, the early try to put us up 18-10 gave us a little bit of a buffer, and then once we sort of busted the door open and got out of 24-10, and we just looked in control. Defensively, we were strong. We restricted them. They didn't have many opportunities down our end because they couldn't get up there. And our completion rates, the high completion rate, which has been a bit of a hallmark of our season so far as well, was really great on Saturday night. And yeah, just watching it, like we were always in control. The attack was clicking. Great to see. All the like the halves combining. Metcalf, breaking through the middle and putting Munga under the sticks. Munga himself, he made a huge impact when he came on the field as well. Just with his second phase play and his deft passing and everything. And yeah, the second half was the best we've looked, I think, since 2023. That was probably the most complete half of footy that we've had, since those days when SJ was guiding us around. And like everyone did their job. RTS making plenty of meters. He looked hard to tackle as usual. Chance was an absolute beast at the back, and like you're starting to see why the club is so keen on having him there and keeping him in the fullback position, because of his defensive play first and foremost, and also he's adding in that a little bit of that late footwork as well, which is making him an extra threat when he's running the ball back. Normally he would just be one of those run it straight back into the line, but he's actually looking like breaking the line a lot more often as well. So adding a few more strings to his bow and in the attacking side of things. But overall, I couldn't have been happier. The perfect way to go into a bye. We had key players missing, but we had those guys step up. So the next man mentality is really strong in our club and has been ever since Webby took over. Like Sam Healy came in and didn't miss a beat. He was very strong. He looked good around the ruck. And like he would be like. I don't know what Webby has in mind moving forward with that 14 jersey, but he would probably be my pick to remain in that 14 jersey. I just think I know he likes Tomato Martin's versatility, but it'd be great to be able to give Egan a bit of a spell and have Healy come on, and he can play in the middle as well, play a bit of a lock forward role. So that was really exciting. And we kept AFB quiet, didn't we? He barely featured in that game, and at the Battle of the Alpha Dogs, as they were saying, and Fisher Harris stepped up and probably had one of his strongest games for the club to date. So just absolutely bloody wrapped, over the moon with that performance, and it's good to just sort of have a bye and sort of dine on that for next 2 weeks, and then come up against what's going to be a very understrength Penrith side that comes over to New Zealand as well.
Absolutely, as you said, mate. The young breed really stepped up in this one, and the difference by Munga, Halasima, Stowers, Saban, Healy, and it was important for them to lift in the absence of Barnett, to try and do what Mitch Barnett does, but just to them the opportunity to start showing their wares a little bit more. They're starting to get into double figures in their NRL career, and I was really, really impressed with how they've been coming along. That next up mentality is working for the team, and it's one of those things you hear a lot of teams are talking about now. Like I heard in the the Bulldogs game on the weekend, Matt Burton, we're trying to create this next up mentality, and everyone's talking about the team being connected, and they're the buzzwords at the moment, aren't they? But for us, it is a next up mentality, and you look at how our cup team is going too. 3 points clear at the top of the table. They won again on the weekend. They're leading that comp. And, we've got... we went out and watched them play a couple of weeks ago at Redfern, you and I, and I happened to notice we've got 11 guys in that New South Wales Cup team that have played first-grade football, whether it be at the Warriors or somewhere else, but they've got first-grade experience. So, I mean, it's you got a guy like Tanner Boyd waiting in the wings, playing reserve grade, and has re-signed or taken on the option for next year. Obviously, obviously happy to remain at the club. Can see some good things that Webby's doing. But as you said, mate, there was a lot of talk before the game, mainly from Adam Fanua-Blake. About the match up against James Fisher Harris. And he was non-existent for them. 22 competition points now, mate, at this stage of the season. Going into the bye, so we've got 2 byes over the next 4 rounds. First time since 1995 that the Wars have won 5 consecutive games in Sydney. That stems back to our last game in Sydney against the Sharks last year. So I think it's the Sharks, Tigers, Sharks,
Rabbitohs is in there.
Rabbitohs, Sharks again, and there's another. Oh, Dragons.
Dragons of
Dragons.
Wollongong, if you call that
Yeah.
Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah. Teams coming along nicely. Obviously, next week we'll probably do a little bit more of an in-depth mid-season review and look at our run home. And because when you look at our run home, we've only got one team that we play that is a true top 8 contender, and that's the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs in a few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, we've got Panthers and Broncos bye, Panthers, Broncos bye, and then I think we've got like Knights, Gold Coast, Gold Coast twice,
Titans twice, and Tigers again. Yeah.
Yeah, Para, Dragons again.
Manly in the last round.
Yeah. So, mate, it's looking good. It is looking really good. Moving forward. Interesting stats from the game. I said at half time, I think the Sharks had 20 compared to us having 5. Mate, at the end of the game, the Sharks had 40 plus tackles inside the Wars 20, and we only had 7 inside the Sharks 20. So it goes to show how good our defence was, and defence wins games. And I think our defence we just blew them out of the park, and it allowed our attack to do what they do and put the points on. And it was great to have a game where that second half not pay and know that the result was in the
finally.
bag, and we actually got a bit of a run on our points differential as well. I think we'll hang around the +5 or something like that. Now I think it's gone up to plus 35 or something. So that's good.
That extra 30 points was really good. And the non-stress in like the last 20. I mean, it's unheard of this year.
It's fucking shocking, isn't it? Mate, what's your thoughts on Kurt Capewell has been brought into the Origin side for some great performances. He's come under a bit of criticism this year with his missed tackles. I think he's had the most missed tackles in the NRL this year. But, mate, when he moves to centre, he's just done an absolute fabulous job for us this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly has. I remember the Dolphins game. Like, he was defending down our side, and he made so many crucial tackles on Herbie Farnworth that day.
Yep.
He had a really big game there. Yeah, he's going great guns at centre, to the point where I thought Billy was going to chuck him into the centres for Queensland. But like it's a weird one. He has missed a lot of tackles, but at the same time we've won a lot of games, and he's made some really big tackles.
Yes.
In those wins that have been crucial and went a long way to helping us secure those wins. So I don't know whether it's one of those things where stats is a bit deceiving. I'm not denying that he has missed the tackles, but sometimes on the edge there you can come up against some very difficult players to contain, should we say? Yep. So what can we say? Yeah, we're winning. So
I've been really impressed with him playing in the centres, and I think having him in the centres with one of those young guys in the back row, it eliminates that having 2 young guys next to each other. Like if we've got Vaimunga and say Rocco Berry, or Halasima and Ali Lautia defending together, there's a little bit of immaturity, a little bit of inexperience in there. But putting Capewell in there, it's been a masterstroke from Andrew Webster, and it's been something that I've been very thankful for, because the other thing, because we've had some problems in our centres this year with injuries, it means a guy like Morgan Harper's not getting a run in first grade.
I was wondering where you were going with this. Yes. Look, it's an interesting one though, because we've got Ali Lautia, is being obviously has huge raps on. We've all got huge raps on him, but he's not really getting a look in at the moment. He came back for that Canberra game, was a little bit out of sorts defensively. And I think Webby is wanting him to sort of work on his defensive game a bit more in New South Wales Cup before they bring him back in. We know what he can do in attack. It's kind of like what happened with Conrad when we had Conrad Hurrell, and Cappy would constantly leave him out of the side, so he would work on those little 1%ers in defence, like turning and chasing, and always sort of turning up there in the defensive line. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens if like how many more weeks he will persist with Capewell there. But it's working wonders for the team at the moment. So
yeah, Malcolm Earnshaw makes a great point there. He says Capewell drags those young guns down with him on kick chase. He's always first down there. He is.
yeah.
His kick chase is second to none in the NRL. It's one of the strong points of his game, and it's probably why Billy's brought him into Origin for that very reason. And we'll talk about the Origin.
And crosses the T's. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Origin teams very soon. Mate, the Dean Bell medal, this was probably the toughest week to just give 3 players points. Any good performances. Who did you give your 3-2-1s to for this week?
Yeah, like you said, it was extremely tough, like the hardest week, because everyone did their job. Everyone turned up and played outstanding. 3 points went to Chance. He was brilliant, both sides of the ball. He's got to be one of the safest fullbacks in the competition. Ran for over 300 metres again for about the 4th time this year, which is amazing. So he got my 3 points. 2 points I gave to Dimitri Faimunga. I thought his impact when he came on the field was immense, and he created a lot of opportunities. He set up a try. He scored one himself. And I think, he really kind of changed the game with his injection in that second half. 1 point, I gave it to Sam Healy because it was a difficult assignment for him, coming in at the 11th hour to replace Wade Egan, who's been, been the glue that sort of holds our attack together and almost like the focal point of our attack. And it was always big shoes to fill, but he rose to the occasion against his old club, the club where he couldn't get a run in reserve grade. Came back, played against his in front of his family and friends, and against a lot of his old teammates. So yeah, he got 1 point for me, just pure, and he was very impressive as well. What about yourself?
Yep. Same with
your Dean Bell medal.
As you said, both.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a little bit, but keep going.
Okay. I gave my 3 points to Chance Tickle Kluckster. Same reasons you said. Both sides of the ball, really fantastic. I gave 2 points to Dimitri Vaimunga. Again, the bench was just immense. Probably played his best game in Warriors colours. And I gave 1 point to Chanel Harris-Tavita. I thought Chanel had a really great game, scored 2 tries, set up 2 tries, had a really great kicking game as well. So I gave Chanel my 1 point. And as I said, we could have given points to James Fisher-Harris was good. Aaron Clark's always good. Metcalf was good. But, trying to share those points around for some guys who don't normally get all the accolades. That was my 3-2-1s, which means Chance is now climbing up on the Dean Bell medal.
A bit of pressure on... No?
Not really. He's still 22 points behind.
There you go.
But Clark's on 42. Chance is on 20. And if Chance keeps playing the way he's playing, he will start putting some pressure on Aaron Clark. No doubt. Pathways this week, Flegg, they went down to the Sharks 38-28. That was a pre-game to the NRL. And then for some reason we had our Cup boys play the Jets over at Henson Park at the same time. They had a 22-16 win in the New South Wales Cup, still leading the comp. I think the Flegg boys are sitting in 9th now, just outside the 8. And I don't know if that's a top 8 or a top 6 or what it is for Flegg. But, they're having a bit of an up and down season, the Flegg boys, but the Cup boys really going well. Before we get into Origin and all that, mate, we'll just quickly go through the results for the round 14. Thursday night, last week, the Knights 26 over the Sea Eagles 22. Mate, 8th time this season that the Knights have been kept scoreless in the first half. But what a turnaround from the Knights. 22-all. Game goes into Golden Point, and Kalen Ponga with a try to seal an unlikely victory. Just
his
madness.
First try of the year. Amazingly, that was his first try of the year. What a time to score it. I don't know if this says more about the Knights or more about Manly, to be honest. They just
Says
completely.
more about Manly.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. They were getting carved up. That James Schiller had spiders all over him. They just couldn't tackle
Yeah.
that guy, and he really sparked them and clawed them, dragged them back into the contest. And they don't go away. Like the Knights, they're quite good defensively, which sounds weird considering their ladder position. It's just that they can't score points, but they kind of poled it on in that second half there, and yeah. Like you said, Manly are just so inconsistent, and probably says more about
The
their up and down form.
as
Adam O'Brien.
Anthony Peake says there in the comments, the Adam O'Brien, the Knights copped it at halftime with the boos. Adam O'Brien just coming out and giving it to the fans, and then having to do a retraction.
That was such a dumb comment. That was so dumb. Like, read the room, champion. We'll be talking a little bit more about room reading a little later on when we're talking about Ezra Mam. I think we've lost Hammer there.
Yes, yes, we will.
We got you back there, mate.
Friday, I don't know what with the is a internet company. Friday night, Storm 18 forms from Dolphins 50 over the Dragons 6. Now come. What'd you make of those?
Yeah, I got to see the Cowboys. Yeah, the Cowboys. We're having a few little gremlins in the system here, but I got to watch the Cowboys versus the Storm. The Storm were always in control of that one. The Cowboys did make a game of it and got a couple of tries to sort of make it a little bit closer, but the Storm are always going to win that. The other one was the statement from the Dolphins, 56-6. I expected that game to be a lot closer. The Dragons have not been playing that badly, but they got absolutely pounded, and that could have and probably should have been 70 points. The way that game was ticking over, but 56-6, and the Dragons are another team that's really hard to get a read on. They can get some really good wins, put in some gritty performances, and then they come out and put out a display like that. So it's really hard to know where they are.
Yeah, Dolphins have got a side though. They've got a side. I picked them to make the top 8 this year. So it doesn't surprise me that they're starting to slowly find a bit of form. Isaiah Katoa is just a kid playing beyond his years at halfback in that side is absolutely outstanding. Saturday kicked off with the Warriors 40 over the Sharks 10. The Broncos 44 over the Titans 14. Adam Reynolds played his milestone 300th NRL game. Michael Ennis went through a box of tissues in the commentary box with Reece Walsh back. Mate, the Broncos wore that awesome all-black jersey for Black Dog Institute. They played like the All Blacks, but look who they were playing. Like, everyone's talking about how good the Broncos were. I think it says more about the Titans than it says anything about the Broncos.
Yeah. Like, first of all, they looked super slick in that all black jersey. They looked really good. They played really good. They scored from that first set. I mean, if the Titans going to be any chance, they needed a good start, and they got anything but that. And Reece Walsh back in the team. Did you know he's a young superstar?
I
do. Mick Ennis was dead set. I think they needed to clean the commentary box after he'd been in there. It's just embarrassing how much he gushes over him. Yes, he's a good player. Yes, we know he's a superstar, but he doesn't have to say it every time he touches the ball or bring it up, even when there's a try being scored that he had nothing to do with.
Oh, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? That was ridiculous. Pat Carrigan gives the ball to Corey Jensen, who scores, and Mick Ennis starts carrying on about it was all about Reece Walsh out the back. He didn't touch the ball. He had no part in the play whatsoever.
Yeah, but he's a young superstar, mate. You got. Yeah, but look. Yeah, again, it's they are they are a struggling team, the Titans. There's no two ways about it. The Broncos always had a performance like that in them. We saw it in round one when they put 50 points on the Roosters.
Yep.
And yes, they came out and put on a clinic. Reece Walsh got a couple of tries or two gridiron passes at the end there. And we'll wait and see what happens when we play them, because they have the Sharks after Origin. They have the Sharks, then they're playing us. So a bit of a tough run, but 2 home games in a row for the Broncos. So that will give us a better indication of where they're really at and if they are in fact back. But we do know that on paper, and they have the capabilities of being a premiership contending side. So we should never write them off. I think at the moment they're beating themselves. So
well, the thing too, like you said, the thing too is that, and we'll talk about the ladder when we get to that, but you got 4 teams up the top now, or 3 teams up the top that are so far ahead of the other teams. It's not funny, and then every other team can still make the 8 because they're, I think, 8th to 14th or 15th is separated by 1 point. So yeah, and everyone's playing inconsistent footy. So yeah, it's very difficult to get a read on. One team that's not playing inconsistent footy, mate, the Raiders on Sunday, 36 over the Rabbits 12. Josh Papali'i became the most capped Raider. I think he played 319 games, overtaking Jason Croker. Capped it off with a try, double, and a goal. Mate, if you're talking about a team that's in form, they're the team in form. Still haven't had a bye, and sitting up there, equal or second on the competition table. They're the real deal this year, Ricky's Raiders. Must be hard. Yeah, it must be hard for Ricky not to complain about something.
I was just going to say he's probably going into the presses going, don't I normally whinge about something here? But no, they're going great guns. Look, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the Raiders. I mean, they're a little bit like us. They're in an unfancied location. They find it hard to attract players, but it seems to sort of really galvanise them, being sort of isolated down there in Canberra in the cold. Yeah, look, on paper, them and the Broncos are chalk and cheese. But look where they are on the table. They've got a really great young core there in Canberra, and mate, they're going great guns. Papali'i is sort of only just making that side. Did you see they said that he's not going to be retained for next year as well?
Yeah. He'll go Super League. I can't see him playing against the Raiders. I think he'll end up overseas.
Yep.
Yeah. The other game on Sunday, the Panthers 18 over the Tigers 14. Really close contest, hard-fought game. Panthers, they're far from the 4-time premiership winning side, aren't they? They've got some good young kids coming through, but they just aren't that premiership defence ready. No. And, they had all those juniors come through at that one time, Cleary, Edwards, Moses Leota. I think they're the only ones left of that bunch, and maybe Isaiah Yeo as well came through with them. But they've lost so many talented players, and it's now starting to take its toll on that Panthers side. They're still only 1 point out of the 8, believe it or not, but yeah, they're far from the team that won 4 premierships, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's right. It's just been, this year's just been a bridge too far. I mean, they've been able to cope with the players that they've had to jettison the last 4 years. It's been happening every year. They've slowly been losing players. I think this year was just 1 or 2 players too many. While they've got Nathan Cleary in there, they're always going to be a chance in any game, and they had enough to get over the Tigers. You can see how much Jerome Luai really wanted to get the win over his old team, but and they came so close to winning it. Jareem Buller, I think if he just launched himself at the line in that last bit, he's a little bit tentative. I think if he just launched himself at the line, they would have scored and won that game. So, yeah, look, I really feel sorry for the Tigers because, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later perhaps, but their season's been completely derailed by the whole Lockie Galvin thing. And, who knows what's going to do for the Bulldogs, because we'll probably talk about this in a bit, but all the disruptions that are being rumoured now within that Bulldogs team. So, well,
we can talk about it now because the Bulldogs 30 over the Eels 12 on on the King's birthday Monday. Bulldogs looked pretty clinical once again. I thought Parramatta played quite well. They just couldn't get out of their own half. The Bulldogs won that kicking to the corners contest. Reid Marnie, interestingly, was the player who made way for Galvin to come on, and they did all their interviews after the game. Toby Sexton was interviewed and said that he had no idea he was going to go to hooker. It wasn't until Galvin came on and told him he was playing hooker.
Wouldn't be the greatest way to hear that, hey. It really would not be the greatest way to hear that you're... Sorry, champ, you're moving the hooker.
I'm not a fan of Reid by any stretch of the imagination, but he looked like a dejected soul at winning dressing room after the game. With the writing on the wall there. And then you have Toby Sexton, who's led the Bulldogs to the top of the comp this year. Not the most conventional of halfbacks, but he's doing a job for the Bulldogs, just like Luke Metcalf's doing a job for the Warriors and Jamal Fogarty's.
Playing their role.
Yep. But he's now moving. Or he had to move to make way for Galvin. I noticed this week Galvin's picked at 6, Sexton's at 7. They're resting Matt Burton because he's in I think he's 18th man for Origin.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives them that option. But yeah, look, mate, all the 60,000 fans out there on Monday, which was remarkable, and I can't wait till we play the Bulldogs in a couple of weeks at Accor, because there's going to be a massive fan base out there. But yeah, I don't know. This Galvin thing, it's not going to go away quickly.
Did they need it? Did the Bulldogs need this? I really don't think they do. They were travelling along so nicely. This has been a massive distraction because it was almost sickening. The whole Fox telecast was almost centred around Galvin. This kid that's played 31 games. I was saying to you boys in the chat, like, all we need is a Sonny Bill Williams in a monologue, or Lockie Galvin cam on the sideline. Remember they did that when SBW came back during COVID, and they just had shots of him running up and down the sideline pretty much the whole night. Because when he got on the field, he was absolutely gassed.
I was going to say, then he came on, he was gassed after 4 minutes.
Yeah, so it was. But honestly, it was ridiculous. After the game, they'd won. And during the game, when he came on, he'd been on for about 5 minutes, and they'd already put together a little highlights package of him. Highlights package. He'd done 2 passes and 1 kick or something like that. And then after the game, when they were interviewing Stephen Crichton, and they were interviewing Matt Burton and the other guys that they were interviewing after the game, all their questions were just about, most of the questions were about Galvin. And they're sort of like,
Galvin.
Yeah, it's all about Galvin. And I was like, is there like an agenda or something here? Because, as we said, a kid that's played 31 first grade games comes into a side that's already going great guns, getting the first choice halves offside, getting the hooker knocked out of the team, all this kind of thing. Like he's going to want to be worth it. Honestly, he is going to want to be worth it. Because of all the nonsense that's gone on with Phil Gould. Phil Gould, has he met him yet? Honestly. And then with his buddy Lloyd Christmas haircut as well. I don't know.
I know. It's it was quite ridiculous. They played that Matt Johns promotional package about 4 times.
So cringy.
So cringy. But that's Fox Sports for you, mate.
But they're loving it. It's just more for them to talk about.
Good win for the Doggies. They still stay up the top of the comp. Roosters had the bye. So the ladder after round 14, as I said, the Bulldogs remain on top on 24 points. Raiders and Warriors in second and third, both teams on 22 points. Storm in fourth on 20. Then it's a significant gap back to the Sharks in fifth place on 16 points. The Cowboys stay in sixth on 15 points. Then you've got the Dolphins moving into the top 8. They're in seventh spot on 14 points. And the Broncos round out the top 8 also on 14 points. Then you've got Manly, the Roosters, the Dragons and Rabbits. They're also all on 14 points just outside the 8. The Panthers are in 13th on 13 points. They're just 1 point outside the top 8. That's a bit ominous for those teams up above. And then you've got the Tigers and Knights below them on 12 points. And the Eels and Titans holding the spoon on 10 points. Mate, the top 4 look all but certain to play finals footy this year. And with the Raiders yet to have the bye, they're the team that look to be in the box seat. They've got 3 byes in the next 9 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's incredible, and they've made the most of the situation,
They
kind of like
have.
what we have. Like just keep winning while you've got the run.
Yep.
And then you get a chance to rest and let some of those wounds heal, and then come back and have a strong finish to the year. And I think we've only had 1 bye, so we obviously got our second this week, and then and then another bye, 2 games
2
and
weeks
another
after.
bye, and
Yeah.
then it gives us a good launching platform to sort of hit the tail end of the season and really finish strongly, and hopefully ruffle a few feathers in the finals.
That's the way it's got to be. Just some quick NRL talking points, mate. The Origin squads were announced. New South Wales, no real surprises there. I think it's Max King has been promoted to the starting squad. Stefano Utakamano comes onto the bench. Hamale Olakawatu asked to be removed from the squad. His wife is due to have her baby this week. He doesn't want to be in Perth when that happens. So no Terrell May still, mate. Keon Kolamatangi has come into that extended bench for the Blues. For the Queenslanders that talk about loyalty and pick and stick and all the rest of it, mate. DCE dropped. First time Queensland have dropped a captain. It's a massive call from Billy Slater. Kate Wall back into the squad, as us Warriors fans would be interested in. And the one that I know you want to talk about, Ezra Mam called into the squad. Did he have to be brought into Origin?
No, he did not. No, he absolutely did not. I think the Queensland team really needed to read the room on this situation, and they clearly didn't. As Buzz Rothfield said on 360 the other night, like, they didn't have to pick this guy. He was never going to play. He was always going to be 18th man. They did not have to pick him, but they chucked him in there. Just go back to the DCE thing. I think we're a little bit rattled up here north of the border. I think Billy's a little bit rattled as well. I'm not saying it's a panic move, but I don't know where I really sit with that. I mean, he didn't, like, as a collective, as a side, we were just all poor across the board on game 1. So I guess you do have to make a few changes, and we've had the luxury of picking and sticking for all those years when we probably won the majority of the series over the last 20 years. But yeah, shoes on the other foot now. Just going back to Ezra Mam though, like, I would not have as much of a problem with all of it if he had shown just like a shred of humility in the whole scenario. So, okay, he's had a lot to say over the past couple of weeks. So when he came back and after he served his time and, been handed out his punishment by the judicial system, which means nothing when you can get the best lawyers in the country to represent you and get you a slap on the wrist. And the NRL are not going to do anything because the Broncos are their cash cow.
Yep.
So they don't want to disadvantage the Broncos at all. So they're gonna do the same. They gave him 9 weeks, but mate, he should have had the season. He should not have been playing this year. It was an extremely serious crime. I'm not going to go into it again because we all know what happened. We all know the outcome of it, and what he did was just absolutely stupid. But to come out and then say, "Oh, people are booing me because I stood up for myself against Spencer Leniu and that whole racism thing," it's like, no, mate, it's all that other stuff you did. And then coming out and saying, if you guys have a problem with it, too bad, because the judicial system has had their say. And it's like, mate, just shut your mouth.
Yep.
Just shut your mouth and show like a little bit of humility. If he just put his head down, stayed out of the spotlight, stayed out of all that, and just gone in and just come back into the team and worked hard and not like arced up to the crowd when they started booing him like he did in Manly. Like, they clearly got under his skin that day as well. And just like got on with it and, keep your mouth shut. But no, instead he had to make a spectacle of himself. And it's really bad look when we rush him straight back into the team when we didn't have to, because he was never going to play. Why even put him in the squad?
There's 20 other blokes that got picked to be 18th man.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, yeah, mate. I could go on and on about it, but it just really sort of gets under my skin, and yeah. But Nothing I can do about it. Nothing anyone
No.
can do about it. The courts have had their say, remember?
Yes, I think the the DCE thing, like it's weird to drop him after game one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he was either not playing well enough to be selected at the start of the series, which is what they should have done then.
Yeah, I think
Should have
so. Yeah.
similar to what they did last year with Tedesco. They did pick him in game one only because Edwards was injured, but originally Edwards was picked. Pulled out injured. They brought Tedesco in. He wasn't captain. Jake Debrojevic was captain. And then after that game, regardless of the result, Tedesco was gone. They should have just not picked him in game one. But by picking him in game one, I really think they should have just stuck with him for the series. But again, I don't think he was playing good enough footy to be picked in the first place. So
it wasn't. His club form has been average ever since he made that announcement that he was leaving. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That game's next week, mate. Next Wednesday week. This time next week. Do you have a pick? Are you still on the Maroons, mate? Do you think you can get it done? They've made some changes. They've dropped, like, Bo Fermor's now become a one-game Origin player. He's been dropped. I think Nanai's been dropped to the bench this one.
Yeah, we've got Cotter in the edge. Cotter is not an edge forward.
He was on the edge last time.
Yeah, I mean we just did not look like scoring a try in game one. The New South Wales defence was way too good. We didn't throw much at them either.
They continue to pick Mo Fotuaika in the front row.
I do not understand why he's there. I would even rather have Cotter starting in the front row.
Well, I would have like Carrigan starting front row with
Cotter at lock.
Yeah, Cotter at lock.
Yeah, but that makes a lot more sense. He had. It feels a bit weird to say he had a shocker in game one when like pretty much all the players were off in game one, but yeah, he was one guy in particular that I was surprised retained his spot, but. And Lindsay Collins still playing off the bench. It's weird. We need some size. New South Wales
what it is.
Got a big pack, and
yeah,
I don't know. Everyone's trying to play small ball these days.
Yeah. It worked for the Knights last week, but it won't work for Queensland next week, mate. I'm picking the Blues. I think it'll be comprehensive. I think the Blues by 12.
Yeah, Queensland have never won in Perth in I think 3 starts. Look, my heart says Queensland, but I think I'm going to have to go in my head, and I think New South Wales are going to wrap up the series comprehensively. Yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah. But I'll still be back in the Maroons all the way. I'll still have my Maroon jersey on Wednesday night, so yeah.
Absolutely. Mate, moving on, Meninga. Mal Meninga was officially announced as the inaugural Perth Bears coach. Stepped down from his position of the Australian coach, and now all talk is that's going to go to Freddie Fittler, which is, I guess, an interesting move. But yeah, Mal will start doing his recruitment for the Perth Bears. So we'll see how that goes.
I know you're a big fan of his analysis on the NRL Fox coverage.
Yeah, him and Kevy Walters.
Yes.
I thought Corey Parker was bad.
Yeah, maybe Kevy will end up being his assistant over there.
Probably. He probably will. Craig Bellamy agrees to coach the Storm in 2026. What's that going to be, 24 years? Now,
2003 he started as Storm coach, so yeah, man, he's always going to do that. I think, I don't think he'll ever coach anywhere else as a head coach.
No.
Anyway, they said he's going to move. He has been quite vocal about moving to the Gold Coast as soon as he retires, because apparently he's got grandchildren on the Gold Coast. Yep. So he may pop up at the Titans in a director of football kind of role at some point, but I don't think he'll ever be a head coach anywhere else.
Yeah, by the time. I was going to say,
might need it.
No, by the time he gets there, Desi will be long gone. The Knights, mate, they've told Dane Gagai that they won't be activating the option for season 2026, so he will become a free agent on the market. Do you see him continuing in the NRL anywhere, or will he be a Super League candidate?
Yeah, I can see him going to Super League, or maybe going back to another Queensland team. Like he might pop up at the Titans for 1 year or something like that.
I could see him going to South because of Wayne Bennett.
Yeah. So the interesting thing was he got offered big money to go to the Roosters, I think maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and he turned them down to stay loyal to the Knights, and now they've shafted him out of his extra season. But I can sort of see it from their point of view. He is what, about 34, 35 now.
Yep.
So yeah, he's still got a lot to offer. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been opposed to him getting another Queensland call up at the moment. He's always played really well for Queensland. But yeah, I think he'll get a gig somewhere else for sure.
Yep. And Kai, speaking of the Knights, Kai Pierce-Paul, that's a great name. He's signed a 3-year deal at the Tigers, so they're going to be losing another player. The Tigers are looking to strengthen them. Big news for the Tigers is Taylor May has been, I think it was announced today that he's signed with the Tigers, so we could see him running out in the next couple of weeks for the Tigers. Tyrone May has come out and said that he wants to come back to Sydney and play with his brothers, so it could be
the speed machine.
The speed machine, yeah. Could be a mayathon at the Tigers.
Mayfest.
Yeah, Mayfest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Yeah. That's all I've got, mate. You got anything that you want to talk about? You want to continue talking about Lockie Galvin or
Ramam? No, look, I've said my piece, so yeah, we can move on.
All right. No Warriors game this week, mate. Warriors have the bye.
Put our feet up.
Yep, we can put our feet up. We can relax. We can take the 2 points. And then just a handful of games this week, mate. And I won't go through the changes. Obviously, teams affected by Origin for this weekend. Tomorrow night, the Sharks take on the Dragons at Shark Stadium. It's an important game for both teams. I think the Sharks will get home in this one, though, mate.
They'll want to come out and make a big statement after last week. So I think they'll be way too good for the Dragons to be licking their wounds after that shellacking.
Friday night, the Titans versus Sea Eagles at Seabus Super Stadium. Sea Eagles would be buoyed by the fact they got Daly Cherry Evans playing. So I'll pick the Sea Eagles. I think Cherry Evans will be in for a big one. He'll be wanting to show Billy Slater that he made a wrong move in regards to his non-selection for the Queensland side.
Yeah, you'd expect that kind of response from a player like him. Yeah, I just never know what to expect with Manly. If they can channel their first half from last week, then I think they'll be too good for the Titans, who are in a bit of a world of hurt at the moment, and may not be too long before we see our first coach sacking of the season.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you reckon Desi will go?
Well, they've come out and said that he's under no pressure and he's got the full support of the board and everything. So that usually means he's gone in 2 weeks, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, it does. Saturday night, Roosters versus Knights at Allianz Stadium. Mate, I'm going to pick the Roosters in this one. I think they'll be too strong.
Yeah, Roosters have been in decent form lately, so I'll stick with the Roosters. Yeah, they'll be too good for the Knights, I think.
Cowboys versus Dolphins at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Dolphins will be specials. No Tommy Dearden. A lot of players missing for the Cowboys with Origin.
5 or 6 players out. So, yeah. Dolphins less affected. So I think they'll be too good. Yeah, I think they'll have too many points in them.
Yep. And the Rabbits versus the Bulldogs. Rabbits have been impressive the last 2 games they've played. They nearly got home against the Warriors. They put up a good performance last week.
12-0. They led 12-0 for most of that first half. Yep.
Yeah. Playing the Bulldogs this week at a core stadium. You can't tip against the Bulldogs at the moment. They're leading the comp. They're leading the comp for a reason.
They've got God's gift of football in the halves. So
they do.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come out and want to outplay his halves partner on the day.
Absolutely.
To make a statement. So I think they'll get it done. But it'll be close, but no Latrell is a big out for the Rabbitohs, and we know firsthand what he can do.
100%. The buys: Broncos, Raiders, Panthers, Storm, Tigers, Eels, and Warriors. That'll upset a lot of people. The Broncos will remain in the 8 because they get the 2 points. And then just moving ahead to Warrior Nation updates. So if you log into the Warrior Nation page, Richie has all the events that are upcoming for the various games. Massive one coming up in 3 weeks at the Lord Alfred pre-game for the Broncos game. You'll be there for that one, mate.
I will be. Guys, if you were in southeast Queensland and you've looked at some of those scenes from the Dolphins game and Magic Round and gone, that looked mint. I'd love to be a part of that. Even if you don't have tickets to the game, because it's basically sold out, the game against the Broncos, make sure you get there, be a part of it, get amongst it. It is honestly the best pre-game meetup in Australia, and you'll get to meet all the Warrior Nation faithful. Say g'day to Richie Morgan and everyone else there. Tukes and Campo are all a part of the furniture there at these kind of events as well. So make sure you get amongst it. It is one that you'll never forget. There's going to be another march down Caxton Street. If you want to be part of that, and you want to feature in the Warriors promotional stuff as well, make sure you get involved there. Retro Rugby League is going to be there too. He's going to be doing a bit of promo stuff there. Talking up Warrior Nation. So yeah, make sure you get there. Again, even if you don't have tickets to the game, be there at the Lord Alfred Hotel.
Absolutely. And then following on from that, we've got events organised for the Newcastle game in a couple of weeks. That's
Looking
a double
forward to
header.
That.
Yeah, Rob's coming down for that one. That's a double header for the girls, the Warrior NRLW side playing after the main game. So that'll be a great one. We've got another one organised when we play the Bulldogs. That'll be at the locker room opposite Accor Stadium, and another big one organised at the Sporting Globe at Robina when we play the Titans.
Yes.
And I know there's one organised when we play Manly in the final round. So stay on the Warrior Nation page. Richie will be updating the events every as they come up. We'll actually get Richie on not next week, but the week after to talk about the event in Brisbane, the week of the event. So we'll get Richie on for that one. Next week, mate, we may have a special guest coming up next week.
Yeah, potentially. I'm going to try and hit him up, but we're hoping that I haven't run this past them yet, so I won't say who it is, who it involves just yet. But there'll be hints, but we'll try and tee something up. But
there are a couple. Yeah. I've got the what is it, the stoking the fire or put the feelers out with a couple of people. When we spoke with Glenn Harris and Cam George when they were over here the other week, they said that they were going to put us in touch with a couple of people to get on for a bit of a chat. So yeah, we're not going to announce who they are at this point in time, but we've got the feelers out there. That's what the word I was looking for. Got the feelers out there, and hopefully we can announce some guests coming on to have a bit of a chat to us about Wise football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, before we go ahead, just Anthony Peake. Yes, I did see the club pushing members with travel packages for the Doggies game. They're also doing a competition where they're giving away a travel package, including 2 nights accommodation in Sydney for that game. And they have announced Owen Guttenbill and Kevin Campion will be the special guests for that. So guys in New Zealand, jump onto the One New Zealand Warriors website and get yourself locked in for that competition. That'll be a good one.
Get on board.
Absolutely. Sorry, mate, you were going to say.
Yeah, no, I was just going to do, we're up to that point where we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping on some of the things that we like to promote here on Ruin Hammer. So, guys, we've been talking to you about Vital Man. So there's a bit of a hint for you. So I want to talk to you about Vital Man, the great range of supplements, meal replacement shakes, and Vital Drive male enhancing products there. So make sure you go and check it out on vitalman.com.au. Normally, the great man Michael Witt, Warrior 134, gives us a 20% discount code for all listeners of Ruin Hammer. But even better, at the moment, he's got an end of financial year sale going on. So if you use the code EOFYS25, you'll get not 20 but 25% off your order. I've just put in another order to stock up on my Vital Shakes. It is an awesome thing to have when you're running low on time and you want something to fill you up. I have it with my porridge every morning with a bit of fruit. It is the best breakfast ever. So yeah, jump on there, have a look, grab yourself some fantastic products there. Also, I just want to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. A number of you in the chat tonight. We really appreciate all the support that we get from our Patreon supporters. If you want to get involved there and support us and what we do here at Rue and Hammer, patreon.com/Rue_and_hammer, and jump on there. And for as little as $3 a month, you can support us with what we do, bringing the show to you and all the costs involved. And you can, if merchandise is your thing, we have Patreon packages as well that entitle you some t-shirts. I've sent out a round of t-shirts recently, so I hope all you guys got your shirts and are enjoying them. And speaking of merchandise, if you do want to grab something for yourself, make sure you check out our Redbubble Rue and Hammer store. It's ruinhammer/shop on Redbubble. Make sure you go in there and have a look. They have 25% off store-wide as well. A lot of sales going on at the moment for end of financial year. So jump on there. Why don't you check out our new Lecker Halasima shirt? Check out our James Fisher Harris shirt. And there's a Up the Waz, one of our famous Up the Waz 2025 version coming out very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll be posting that on social media, but make sure, if you do want to grab yourself some t-shirts or any other merchandise, jump on the Redbubble store. And thank you so much for all you guys who have supported us through there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to everyone. That wraps up the show for this week. Everyone relax this weekend. No Warriors game. We can all take a breath. Put our feet up, see our families, and get ready for the run home. Next week we will be on at the special time on Thursday. So we can chat about the New South Wales Blues win in Origin 2 at Perth. And we can watch Rob cry on camera.
Hey, look! As I always say, it's Warriors first, Queensland second. So just as long as the Wires keep winning, then I'll be happy regardless.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, guys. Up the Wires.